Jesus Christ commits so many sins, so many crimes in the Bible. I will mention it. So many. You wouldn't believe what he did. Because the first miracle that Jesus Christ performed in the Bible, he turned water into wine and people drink and they get booze. That is why wine is common in Christendom. They use wine, our Father, and baptism. He turned water into wine. Where? In the book of John chapter 2 verse 3.
When someone quotes a passage from the Bible and uses it to criticize Christianity, please remember these important points. They're using deception to make you believe in their conspiracy agenda. They're putting 3D glasses on your face and making you look at an illusion, and you're believing in the illusion. Wake up, Christians, and read the Bible for what it actually says. Here, the agenda of conspiracy is that Jesus manufactured an intoxicating alcoholic beverage, and Jesus encouraged drunkenness. But let's go investigate the truth and see what this passage of scripture actually says. John chapter 2 and verse 3 says that the wine supply ran out during the festivities at the wedding of Cana. John chapter 2 and verse 6 says that nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, not the kind used to make wine. Clay pots were used to make wine, not stone jars. John chapter 2 and verse 7. Jesus told the servants, "Fill the jars with water." And they obeyed him and filled them to the brim with water. John chapter 2 and verse 8. Jesus told the servants, "Now draw some of the water out of the stone jar and take it to the master of the banquet." And they obeyed him. John chapter 2 and verse 9 also says that the master of the banquet tasted the water, but he did not realize where it came from. Furthermore, John chapter 2 and verse 9 says that the servants who drew the water out of the stone jar, they knew that what the master of the banquet had tasted was water. In John chapter 2 and verse 10, the master of the banquet called the bridegroom aside and he told him, "You have saved the best for last." So a careful study of John chapter 2 from verse 1 to verse 11 reveals to us that Jesus asked the servants to fill the stone jars with water. And he asked the servants to serve this water to the master of the banquets. And this water that the master of the banquets drank tasted better than anything else that he had ever drunk before. The master of the banquets did not know that he was drinking water that Jesus had served for him, because the water that Jesus had served for him tasted better than any wine he had ever had. And that's why in John chapter 7 verse 37 and verse 38, Jesus stood up and said with a loud voice, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink, and you will receive living water." The master of the banquet thought that he was drinking the best wine ever, but he was actually drinking living water served by Jesus.